Yes, it's day 2. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this party started. So who had fun yesterday? Who got to learn a lot yesterday for your real estate investing business? Let me know in the chat if you got a golden nugget yesterday. Either write the word golden nugget or drop what the nugget was. Let's test that brain. Let's get it working for us. Let's make sure that everything we're talking about here is sticking nice and well for you guys. So here's the thing. We are going to jump right into this because today, day 2, this is gather intel. Okay. Yesterday, we had some homework. We're going to go through that together. We're going to make sure that you got that like really, really done. And I sound like I'm in an echo chamber, so I'm going to open this door. There. That's better. We just moved into the new place, literally got in here late last night, and we're getting settled and all that kind of stuff. So literally the place is empty right now, except for the internet, which I got nice and set up. So we've got nice high-speed internet, and then this broadcast line right here, right now, so that we can jump into day 2. So this is all about gathering intel. So yesterday we had some homework to go into other Facebook groups and start to pull some deals. Now, I want to disseminate, or I want to segregate a couple different things about this. Now, number one, those of you that want to work with sellers directly, there is a strategy for that, okay? A lot of what we do in our business is sellers directly. But what I want to do during this challenge is I want to get a deal done. I want to do this in 5 days. In fact, today, I took yesterday to let you guys get settled. You guys got a little head start on me. And today is when myself and my team are going to launch into a brand new market. One of our VIP markets will get drawn later today, and we're going to get started today. So we're really going to do this in more like a 4-day thing, okay? But in order to do that, to go start to finish, to get a deal done, sometimes the fastest way is to take other people's deals. So when we jumped in yesterday and we started doing the homework, it's really designed to grab an easy deal from somebody else and turn around and wholesale that deal. Okay, that's the fastest way to make profit in this. Okay, now we'll talk more later this week about strategies, and actually some today. I'm going to teach you what we say to direct to sellers. We'll talk about those strategies because I love working direct with sellers too. Okay, so just I'm going to make that distinction so that everybody knows the difference between the two, and that we can work both sides of the aisle. The other thing about going direct to seller is that it takes a little bit longer and it costs money typically. Like, you'd have to pull out your wallet and pay Facebook to run ads, which is okay. It doesn't cost that much, but it costs more money. And I didn't want to put anybody in that position. I wanted to go to a free way for you to go out and grab deals right away and get this engine churning. And by the way, that free way, it accounts for more than half of the deals that we take in. So I would never BS you. I would never have you do something that we don't do ourselves. And that's why I sent you down that path. Okay. All right, who's ready to get started? We got some prizes to give away. I'm hoping that Miss Melissa is ready to rock for a prize giveaway, and she can at least tell us who it is, and then we can announce it here on the broadcast. But reminder on the prizes, you've got to be registered with us, and you've got to be playing full out. Okay, that's the rules. You got to be registered with us. You got to be playing full out. So if you're watching this on like some other platform outside of the Facebook group that's specifically designed for this, because we're streaming to a few places, then you got to make sure you come back and register so that we know you exist. Okay. The way to do that is you jump over here. This was day 0 homework. It was on Sunday when we initially kicked off. On Sunday, we talked about this, but you come in and you get registered with us. You come to 5dayflipformula.com to register. And then you send a text message with the word flip to 941-265-8700, okay? And then from there, you got to play full out. Do the homework each day. We want you to do the homework for your benefit. You will not get transformation this week without application. That means you've got to physically do. I want to get you into momentum. The only way that I know that I can kickstart your business is if I get you into momentum. We're literally taking you down the same path that we just took someone. You're going to meet her later this week. We took someone that had never been in real estate before, and she's 3 weeks in, maybe 4 weeks in, and she's already got her 3rd seller deal coming in, direct seller. direct to seller contracts coming to us. Already got our third seller deal coming in just in under a month. So I'm taking you down the path that we run in our own business right here, right now. Okay. So make sure you register with us so that you're eligible for the prizes. Those prizes are amazing. By the way, we're taking literal trainings that our highest end clients, people that are in our private client group, they pay $18,000 usually for a short time period with us, 6 months or more. Sometimes it's upwards of $36,000, depending on what they need for their business. They pay a lot of money for this, and we've compiled some of the best trainings for you. We're going to give away, number one, buyers on demand. Those of you that are struggling trying to figure out the whole buyer situation, we've got a training for you. We're going to give that away. That's one of the prizes. We're probably going to give that one away today. As soon as Melissa lets me know who it is, we'll announce that. Number two, right now, if you've got the iBuyers in your marketplace like Zillow or Open Door, the big companies that are fund-backed, hedge fund-backed oftentimes, those folks are making a tear. They're making like a huge wave out there. And what happens is that they leave behind a lot of people. They get the hopes of a seller up, of selling, and then they go on site and they say, you know what, this doesn't fit our box. It doesn't fit our box perfectly. It's too old for us, or it has a slab foundation. We don't buy slab foundations. And then you got a seller that's upset, and there's hundreds, if not thousands, in every single major market right now. And there's a way that you can come in behind them and scoop up those breadcrumbs. So we're giving away that training too. That's called the Picking Up the Zillow Breadcrumbs training. We're giving that away, okay? Next thing is that we're giving away an SMB field kit. This is literally the kit that I use when I go on site with a seller. It's got my checklist printed out on a clipboard. So literally when I'm sitting with the seller, I can say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you mind if I go through my checklist here to make sure that we don't miss anything? And then it walks me through what to say, when to say it, how to say it. Okay. So that field kit it's incredible. Okay. We're also giving away a private money masterclass. If anyone's trying to get private money for your business, this is like pure gold. It's what we're using right now to pull private money in for our deals. And then last but not least, it's the name of this I don't really like, but it's called the Garbage Leads into Gold training. Okay. This training, what happens is that a lot of people, they get a bunch of leads, they'll generate leads, but they have no idea how to work with a seller. They have no idea how to treat them with heart, how to make an offer from the heart, how to make sure that there's a win-win that's carved out. So most sellers will just say no to them. They'll flat out reject them. And because of that, there's a lot of sellers out there that they're good leads, like they want to sell their property, but they just need the right person that's going to come in and actually talk to them like a human being to get the deal done. And that training is all about that. So we've got that available. It's one of the prizes. So I'm going to announce that after Melissa lets us know. She's going through the chat. She's going through the homework, and she's making sure that homework was done, number one, and you're playing full out. You got your registered, all that kind of stuff. So if you haven't taken the time to do that, make sure you take the time to do that. That's 5dayflipformula.com. And then text the word flip to 941-265-8700. Okay. What is the biggest nugget you took yesterday? Let me know in the chat. What is the biggest nugget that you took yesterday? What's the biggest one? I want to know. If this is sticking. This is not a passive webinar. This is a 5-day challenge. I want to push you. I want you to remember this. I want this to be a distinct line from pre-5-day flip challenge and post 5-day flip challenge. I want you to remember when you went through this. And the only way that we're going to do that is that if we get transformation this week. Transformation comes from application. So I want to know from you, what's the biggest thing that you took away from yesterday? We got Arlene's in there. Hey, Arlene, how you doing? Good morning. We've got pick a niche. Pretty common theme popping up. Yeah, picking a niche is huge. Absolutely huge. Don't try to be everything to everyone. It just doesn't work as well. Yes, I know you can get leads if you just advertise We Buy Houses, but you can get a lot more leads if you pick a niche. You niche down. I'll hit a couple slides on that to make sure that really sinks in too. Next one says joining free Facebook groups. Yeah, that's powerful. Yesterday in the VIP, Kate literally did an over-the-shoulder look of what her and our newest team member are doing. The new team member that picked up 3 deals in less than a month. literally an over the shoulder look. She did a screen share and she went step by step and said, this is exactly what we're doing. She didn't hold anything back. Like that VIP was absolute fire. By the way, there were like VIP, you guys showed up to play. Holy cow. We went with questions for over 2 hours. Like we really, really rocked it. I know our VIPs, like you guys showed up to play yesterday. I hope that same energy comes from everybody today. And it's not too late to join VIP. Today, maybe tomorrow is the cutoff on it because you'll still get all the recordings from yesterday. You'll get the recordings from anything that you missed in the VIP. But I've got more special guests coming. I got Chris Strickland coming today. The guy's done 1,600 deals. Tomorrow I've got Mike Fritz coming. Mike Fritz is the leader, the authority in commercial real estate. He just closed on a 98-unit building, and he did it without bringing money out of his own pocket to do it. Like there are some fire guests coming, and they're helping us go deeper on this stuff. So it's not too late to jump in. You can jump in at 5dayflipformula.com/all access. 5dayflipformula.com/all access. Okay. Right now, I want to get into basically the 3-step formula today for screening our deals or gathering intel. This intel gathering, it's kind of like being the inspector, so to speak, Inspector Gadget. Remember him? Now, this part of the equation, some people like to get a little bit bored with. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. They get a little bit bored because they're like, well, I just want to go meet sellers and fix stuff. But this part's probably the most important part. Day 2, it's the most important part because getting our numbers right and making sure that it's actually a good deal is going to be the difference between whether we're going to be able to make profit off the deal or we're not going to make profit off the deal. So I want to make sure that we play full out again today. This is literally like when we really dialed in this whole gathering intel process. This is what helped really push us from that 0 mark to the 10 million plus mark in 3 short years. It's because we were able to train other people on our team to be able to go and do this and replicate it. And that's how you grow. That's how you scale. Okay. It starts with you though. It starts with you making sure that we can get you to this. Now, if you're at a spot right now where you're like, Nate, I feel stuck. I want to teach you how to get unstuck right now because it's natural. It happens. We're on day 2 of a challenge. You guys have already had 2 homework assignments, one from Sunday night, one from Monday. And if you're at a spot right now where you're like, gosh, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do. First off, you have to acknowledge it. You have to acknowledge it and say, you know what? I'm stuck. But then you got to go back to something that we taught yesterday. We taught yesterday that all the folks, especially the folks that I'm bringing into VIP, like they're really good real estate investors. And the commonality with all of them is that they make decisions. Even if they make a decision and it's wrong and they make a mistake, they make decisions. They don't hold back from that, okay? So I want to make sure right now, if you feel stuck, acknowledge it, and then just know that you've got to make a decision. You do. You got to pick a niche. Don't hold yourself back from it. Some people yesterday were asking like, well, how do I pick LLC names? And like, those are important questions, but those are questions that shouldn't hold you back in your real estate business. And by the way, like my wife and I, we bought our first 3 properties in our personal name. And we didn't have to have an LLC, like all that kind of stuff. I'm not here to give you legal advice. You should talk with your legal folks, your attorney and whatnot. But like, I just don't want you to be held back by artificial barriers because you don't have to be. You do not have to be at all. You can jump into this business literally. And now in today's world, the most important device that you have is a smartphone and a Facebook group, a free Facebook group. A free Facebook account. Okay. That's all that you have to have. And then you can jump into this stuff. So what you do if you get stuck is you acknowledge it, you make a decision, and then just know that you don't have to judge yourself if you make a mistake. Like, don't worry. I'm jumping onto this broadcast with you right now, and I'm in basically a bare naked apartment. There's nothing here. And I'm like, you know what? I'm jumping in. I'm here to serve today. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care that it sounds like it's echoing. Like I'm here to serve. And I want you to do the same thing when you jump into this business. It's the only way that you're going to learn. You're going to make some mistakes and you just keep going. Okay. And then when you do have success, you have to celebrate. It teaches your brain like, yes, I did my homework. I posted this. I got into 12 Facebook groups. I'm moving the ball forward. You celebrate those. Doesn't matter. Like you don't have to just celebrate getting a deal closed because that's too much pressure. You got to celebrate the small things, reward your brain that you're making progress. Okay. And then the last thing is that I want you to focus on mostly your unique abilities. I don't want you to like dread coming and doing your job every day. If this real estate investing thing is for you, I don't want you to dread it. And a lot of people, they'll tell you like, oh, you got to work on your weaknesses. You know what? I don't. I mean, I have, but it's not what I'm focused on. What I'm focused on is what am I the best at? How do I serve people at the highest possible level? For me, like, you just get me in a room and let me talk to people. I'm much better at that. Like, I don't like the phone so much. I don't like all the digital stuff. Like, I'll do that because I have to do it, but get me where I know that I'm really good. Let me go meet the seller. Like, I focus on what my unique ability is, and you should do the same thing too, whatever that unique ability is. And then whatever your weaknesses are, just try to do less of them. Do more of your unique ability, okay? We stand right here, right now, with the way that we do this business. We stand for helping sellers. We stand against the sharks that are out there just trying to eat sellers alive, okay? I'm embarrassed to admit that 14 years ago, when I first learned this business, my first teacher, they taught me that I should go in, make a lowball offer, kind of like a punch in the gut, right? Go make a lowball offer and then just zip my lips and don't talk. The first person to talk loses. And you tell me, like, anyone here, where has, if you've done the lowball cash offer thing, where has it gotten you recently? What's it like out there in the marketplace making lowball cash offers? Do you get a lot of deals? Do you get rejected? What happens? What's happening to you when you're making lowball cash offers right now? I'll tell you what it's like. Most markets right now, they're really fast paced. They're moving, right? They're cooking faster than they have over the last 4 years. And so sellers have options. They have choices, especially if they list it on the MLS with a realtor. And so they're getting multiple offers from a lot of people. They see a lowball cash offer and we got someone saying, I got rejected, not taken seriously. I got laughed at. I was taught the same thing the first round. I got snubbed. I didn't get any accepted offers. I got nowhere. Yeah, Chris, spot on. Like, this is exactly what's happening in the marketplace. When people are going out making these lowball cash offers, they just don't work anymore. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. I'm not saying you can't buy a property for a lesser cash amount, because you certainly can, but you don't lead with punching someone in the gut. You do not lead with a gut punch. That does not leave a lasting relationship kind of thing with a seller. Not at all. Not at all. There's a different way to do this, okay? We're going to get into that today. We're going to start with gathering intel. It starts with the first conversation with the seller. Gathering intel on a property starts with the first conversation with the seller. It's a relationship is where it starts. Okay, so we're going to get into that today. I'm actually going to show you and I walk you through what I say to sellers and what I say to wholesalers. Okay, I want you to be able to really master this while we're together. Okay, yesterday, by the way, you know what? Let me just jump into it. Okay, I want to make sure that we have time for all this. We're already 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in. I want to make sure that we got time for it all. And then Melissa, let me know if we're ready. Melissa, as soon as you know, just pop the person's name that won the prize, and then in the chat. Oh, there we go. We got it. We got it. Okay. Jessica Ackerman. Jessica Ackerman. If you're on live right now, let us know in the chat, Jessica Ackerman, and do me a favor and tag Melissa Vasquez. Melissa Vasquez. She'll pop up. She's the group admin. By the way, Melissa, you do a fabulous job. Thank you very much. You're taking care of people so well. I know with 1,200 plus people that have signed up for this challenge, Melissa's got a big job. But Melissa, you are doing fantastic. So thank you for taking care of everybody. And anyone that's emailed Melissa or reached out via Messenger, just know that she's got 1,200 people that came all at once. So she'll get caught back up each day, but just give her at least 24 hours to circle back to. But Melissa She pulled out Jessica Ackerman. She's done all the homework. She's had great enthusiasm. She showed up to play. So Jessica Ackerman, congratulations. You have won prize number 1. We'll get that synced up to you in the next day or two. And I'm looking forward to seeing you playing full out with this as well for the rest of the time. Okay, today what we're going to learn. We're going to learn our system. This is the Home Invest Tribe, the HIT team. Our system for analyzing deals so you're always ready and confident to give offers. And it works kind of like this. Like yesterday, let me just make sure that the stuff sunk in from yesterday, because then we're going to transition into like analyzing deals. In order to analyze deals, you've got to get deals. So yesterday, this is what we talked about. We talked about this whole marketing to the masses. That's a myth. Don't do that, okay? It's much better to serve your niche. Remember Scott, when Scott first came to us, Scott said, I serve probate sellers. That's who I'm the best in the world at helping. And so then we really dug in and we said, Scott, hey, well, what do the probate sellers say to you? Like, what's their biggest problem? What wakes them up in the middle of the night? And then Scott came back and he told us, hey, they're worried about what to do with mom and dad's stuff. They just don't know what to do with the stuff. And then when we wrote our posts in our ads around that, we led with what kept them awake at night. So remember from yesterday, you can go deeper on it by watching the replay from yesterday. But remember yesterday, we talked about this. We said, this is the ad that we impromptu wrote together. We said, tired of dealing with the probate process? Don't know what to do with mom and dad stuff? Hi, I'm Nate from Nate Buys Houses. I've been working with probate sellers just like you, and I can help you as well. So we're using what we know to be their challenge, their biggest problem, as the actual lead in the copy of the ad, the written text of the ad, okay? So that's the niche. Make sure you picked your niche. If you haven't picked your niche yet, that was part of the homework from the other day, okay? Who do you serve? Okay, the serving your niche will always win in the end. Let me know too in the chat which niche you picked. Which niche did you pick? Who are you serving? Which type of seller? Is it a probate seller? Is it a tired landlord? Is it someone going through foreclosure or pre-foreclosure? Who did you decide that you're going to serve? Okay. I had a lot of questions come in about that question too. That's a decision. That's a decision. Like, don't feel stuck. You just have to make a decision. And it's okay if you change. Like, if you find out 3 weeks from now it's just not your niche, you can change. You don't have to be stuck. But just pick a niche and go. Run. Serve those people. Okay, we got bad credit. We got Arlene is saying tired landlords. Marvin is saying pre-foreclosures. We got some folks that if you want your name to pop up, by the way, you just have to click the StreamYard link that's in the comment section of this video and then authorize StreamYard to pop it up. And that's how you get to your name to pop up like that. I picked top 3. Okay, so you're going after probate, foreclosure, and vacant. And my advice would be to pick one of them and really rock that. Now, it's okay to expand later, but my advice would be to pick one. Pick one and run with that first. Rory says probate sellers. Okay, awesome. Bridget's going after pre-foreclosure. Awesome. Bridget and Mike. Looks like we got a shared profile. Awesome. Distressed sellers. Maxine, nice to see you. Going after pre-foreclosures. Awesome. Okay, cool. So we're getting good at picking the niches. I'm glad, because I don't want people to feel stuck there. Like, serve your niche and run. Tired landlords, vacant landlords. Awesome. Okay, pick your niche and run with it, okay? Secret number 2 we covered yesterday. A lot of people will say, well, Nate, I've tried this social media stuff. Like, I post on it, it just doesn't work. The reality is it does work, but there's a right way to do it. And it's kind of like when we start to compare the old way of doing this business to the new way. It's like comparing watching a movie with a VHS cassette to watching it on Netflix. It's like night and day difference. You just have to do it the right way. Like, if you don't sign up for Netflix won't work for you. If you don't have the profile settings right, then your kids can't watch certain movies. Maybe that's the right way. Or cold calling. Like, I don't know who's tried cold calling. We didn't talk much about this yesterday, but cold calling right now, because sellers are they have choice. They don't want to just get lowball cash offers over the phone. So it kind of goes like this. Hey, you want to sell your house? No, take me off your list. That's what's happening in the whole cold call world. And then we talked about some of the other methods like bandit signs, making offers with realtors, auctions, direct mail, the old yellow letters. All of those right now are just not working like they used to, but social media is. It's just dominating, okay? It is if it's done the right way. And that's why we're here together now. The last thing that we talked about is this myth that everyone knows everyone. Remember when I went to that REI club and we did that deal on 227 Western Avenue in St. Paul, Minnesota, Kathy, the lady that sold it to me, she sat a row in front of me, and Chuck, the guy that bought it from me, he sat 2 rows behind me. Literally, like they probably could have just done the deal by themselves. They probably could have. But I happened to build a relationship with Chuck. I was networking with him before or during a break for like 15 minutes or so, and we just had a good conversation, and he gave me his card and said, if you get any deals, call me. And then I was talking with Kathy a little bit later, and Kathy said, hey, I happen to have a deal. And I said, let's go see it. Can we see it tomorrow? I went and met her. I loved it. I signed the contract on the spot. I called Chuck. Next thing I know, I make $25,000 off of 227 Western simply by literally passing the paper. I didn't have to like take a bunch of money out of my bank account and purchase the property and then fix it and sell. I didn't have to do any of that. I made my profit, my $25,000, by simply connecting the contract with the end buyer. We'll talk more about that 2 days from now, okay? We're going in order, by the way, in case you're like, I'm so confused. How does this work? We started yesterday with gathering leads. Today, we're going to take those leads, those potential properties, and we're going to gather intel. The next day, day 3, we're going to start to give offers. So tomorrow, we should be ready to start making offers. Who's excited for that? Huh? Who's pumped to start giving some offers? And then day 4, which is Thursday, now we're ready. Assuming that we get an accepted deal, which my team's going to push for, and I'm hoping you're pushing for. As soon as we get an accepted deal, now it's time to turn around and market that to buyers. That's Thursday. And then Friday, we call it getting paid. It's really, we're going to go through the dotting of the I's and the crossing of the T's of the things that you need to do to get yourself paid. A deal, you can certainly assign a contract in a 5-day window like this, but typically the title company needs like 2 weeks, maybe a week, 7 days to physically close it out. So we'll go through that though. So that's kind of the flow. Today we're on gather intel. There's no possible way that I could give you every detail in one day. It'd be just too much for you, but we're going through this flow. Okay. All right, cool. We'll go back to this. So this myth that everyone knows everyone, it's simply not true. The truth is that people do business with those that they know, like, and trust. People do business with those that they know, like, and trust. It proved itself to be certain between Kathy and Chuck. That's how that deal was made. I've made deals like that countless times. I don't even know how many times it's happened to me now, but I remember that one because they just sat so close together, and it perplexed me because it was early in my real estate career. And I'm like, why wouldn't they just do the deal together? But then I figured it out over time that people do business with those that they know, like, and trust. Okay. For those of you that are brand new jumping on, because I know that we even had registrations coming in through last night, we've got over 100 VIPs that have signed up with us. We've got over 1,200 people that are active in this challenge right now. If I haven't had a chance to formally meet you yet, nice to meet you. My name is Nate Armstrong. I shared this yesterday, but I wasn't some genius born into real estate. I painted houses to pay for school. Literally used to knock on doors and get paint jobs. That's how I paid for school. And then I struggled to transition to real estate, really struggled with this stuff. But my priorities in life are God first, family second, and then all this work stuff. And that's how I operate. Okay. I had a chance to co-found a pretty cool company called Home Invest. You can Google search that stuff if you want to search that stuff. But where it all started for me was literally knocking doors. Okay. I've got my butt kicked in the middle. I shared that yesterday, and I've done some things in this business to give me the position to help you and serve you right now on this challenge. But where this started for me is literally knocking doors. Now, I don't door knock anymore because I found easier ways. The social media stuff that we're teaching you right now is much easier, but I started by knocking doors. I figured out literally that it took, if I wanted to get one paint job, I'd knock on 30 doors. That was just the math. 30 doors, one paint job. 30 doors, one paint job. That's how it worked. And the same thing can be true for you with your real estate investing business. You're going to figure out what your 30 doors are depending on your niche. Now, the company Home Invest that we got to basically take from this baby of zero to really big, we made the Inc. 500 and did some other cool stuff. But that's not what this is about. I just want to make sure that you know, like, you're working with someone that can really help you and serve you. Okay. Let's get back to gathering intel. Number one, seller intel starts with this. It starts with the very first call to a seller. So I want to go through that with you, with your permission, and promise me you won't fall asleep. Is it okay if we do a little of the how to? Sometimes on like broadcasts and whatnot, people will stay so like high level, they won't even get into the details of showing you physically what to do or how to do something. Is it okay if I show you physically the how so that you can walk out of today really knowing what to do? Let me know in the chat. Just say, yay, let's go. I love it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's do it then. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to go over to my first script right here. Literally, this is the script we use internally. We share this with our high-paying clients. We share this with our own team members that help us do this business at a really high level. And this is it, okay? I'm not holding anything back. I would only share with you and only show you what we're doing internally, okay? This is what we do. If I'm direct to a seller, now there's a difference. Remember, yesterday the homework was you go into other people's Facebook groups and tap into their deals. Sometimes you will find direct sellers that way. Most of the time, however, you will find someone that is already having the contract with the seller, and then they have that deal available for wholesale for you, okay? That's what you'll usually find in Facebook groups. So we're going to cover both. We've got a script for the wholesaler, and we've got a script for direct to seller. Gathering intel starts on the first conversation. I don't want to take that for granted. Like, I could certainly just jump in and start showing you like, oh, this is how we go into Zillow and get comps. But that's not where it starts. Where it starts is the first conversation. So this is it, okay? Hey, Mr. Seller, Mrs. Seller, I'm Nate from Nate Buys Houses. We got your information about giving you an offer on your property. There's different ways that sellers come into you, but I'm just going to keep this general. We got your information about the offer that you want on your property. If there's this part right here, it says, if the alternate party is on the phone, request to speak. Okay, it's basically just make sure you're talking to the person that you're supposed to be talking to. Is Katrina there? Like, transition, okay? I have your name as blank and your address as blank. Is that accurate? In the beginning of the call, you do not want to be at all like a salesperson. I see so many people make the mistake, and I cringe at the thought, like, you just don't do that. In the beginning of the call, you're there just to serve. Move the ball forward. Don't like kick around and like, move the ball forward for them, because in their mind, they're screening you. Your first 60 to 120 seconds, they're saying to themselves, is it worth my time to talk to this person? Even though they fill out a form and they want to get an offer, people are busy. People are busy. How many of you right now, when you get anybody calling you that's like semi-solicitation, do you just like want to speed up the conversation or end the conversation? Let me know in the chat. If you get that, like, let me know in the chat, because it's true. It's what happens to us. So it's important that in the beginning of the call, you simply want to move the ball forward with them. So what I'm typically saying to them is just, hey, is this your address? Okay, great, cool. I've been doing this for a while. I really love this area. I think I can probably help you. But best case scenario, I help you. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work. That's okay. I might even be able to refer somebody to you. Now, this is an important distinction. I want you to carry this, whether you're with them on the phone or you go and meet them in person. You are not desperate. You are not begging them for their property. You are in no way trying to sell them anything. You are offering a service. Your service and your solution is buying a property. It is nothing less than that. That is it. No more. It's no more, no less. Okay. And I make that distinction because a lot of people, they'll go into this call and they'll be like, hey, yeah, I can help you. I'm sure of it. I'm the best in the world. I guarantee it. No, you don't have to do that. That makes you sound desperate when you do that. Instead, we're going to pull it back. We're going to pull it back, and you're just going to be nonchalant. Hey, I can probably help you. Best case scenario, I can probably help you, and we can get this property closed for you, and we can help you get on to the next thing that you really want. Worst case scenario, I might be able to refer somebody else to you that can buy your property. How does that sound? Okay, cool. Cool. Can you tell me about your situation? It's the most important question on gathering intel. Can you tell me about your situation? Great. Let them talk. Let them talk as short or as long as they want. Right here, this is phase one of gathering intel, because they're going to tell you. I didn't say, hey, tell me about the house. I didn't say that. I said, hey, can you tell me about your situation? Let them talk. Let them share whatever they want to share. Usually what will come out when I ask that question is, yeah, I got to sell because I'm getting transferred, or, whatever my niche is. If my niche marketing hit it, then they'll probably tell me that, like, hey, I'm going through probate right now, or yeah, I'm a landlord. I just don't want this property anymore. It's too much hassle. Whatever it is, let them share their story. If they're like totally silent on you, which can happen too, it's because they're still screening you, then just go ahead and jump into phase two. Phase two is right here. My team and I buy houses in this area. We work with a handful of investors and lenders. We've got cash available to buy properties quickly. By the way, don't read as a script. Make sure that you know these bullet points, like they're part of you. Practice in the mirror. Practice, practice, practice. Practice a lot. Practice having conversations with your spouse or a friend or whoever will listen to you. I've got an 8-month-old baby. Sometimes I'll practice my whatever I need to with him, but practice it so that it's just part of your conversation. This should be like a conversation. Most of the time, what happens on these calls, Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, is that we listen first so that we really understand the situation, okay? And let me blow this up a little bit. That'd probably help, huh? And try that in the middle. Maybe 125%, okay? Most of the time, what we do is we just listen to understand what's best for you, and then we can come up with a win-win solution, okay? Here's what today will look like. You're leading the call. Here's what today will look like. I'm going to ask you a handful of questions about your property. I'm going to run some comparative sales reports tonight so I can look at the comps. And then I'll come visit you tomorrow, or if they're like COVID sensitive or whatever it might be, then what you want to do is just say, hey, let's start with a virtual call. Let's start with, do you have the application What's Up? Do you have an iPhone so that we can do FaceTime? That's what you do to start a virtual meeting. But if you can go on site and you're comfortable going on site, great, awesome. I love shaking hands with people. But if you're doing this 100% virtual, then just transition to a virtual phone call. Hey, do you have an iPhone? Okay, great. What we'll do tomorrow at 2:00 is we'll take a walkthrough together. You can just show me via iPhone. And then if you can't do that, then pictures from them are the next best thing, okay? So I'm gonna ask you questions. I'm gonna run some comps tonight, and then we're gonna do our virtual or physical meeting tomorrow. And then here's what the virtual or physical meeting will look like. I'm gonna do the walkthrough. Then we're gonna review all the numbers. Open book. Very important that you say this. Open book, so you can see all my numbers. A lot of people, when they hear that from me, when they hear, Nate, you're really going open book with the seller, you're showing them all your numbers. Yes, I am. You know why? Because transparency builds trust. Do you want to be the punch in the gut person throwing that lowball cash offer, the punch in the gut? Or do you want to be the transparent person building trust? Let me know in the chat. You want to be the punch in the gut, or do you want to be the transparent person who's building trust? If you don't show the sellers with transparency what numbers look like, if you don't show the sellers what that number looks like, they're assuming you're going to make $1 million profit on the house. So instead of making that like awkward tension, like I wonder if this person's screwing me, I wonder if they're making a ton of money off me, instead of having that, just eliminate it. They call it the pink elephant in the room. Eliminate the pink elephant. You don't need to have it there. Instead, simply say, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. I am going to show you my numbers because I want this to be transparent. I want you to know what I know, and we'll go through it together and we'll arrive at the number together. Does that sound fair, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? Okay, cool. Boom. Show them the numbers. Keep marching forward. Okay. And then I say this, I'm hoping to find a solution that works for you. If not, I'll probably be able to refer somebody to you. I'm reminding you of that. The reason that I'm doing that, by the way, think of it like this. You've probably seen the steam engine trains, right? Like the trains running down the tracks when most of them used to use steam engines. Well, what happens to create that energy is they will boil coal. They will take coal, they'll throw it in the furnace, they'll heat it up, and they'll boil water, and it creates steam. And there's so much pressure going through those pipes. It's 18,000 pounds of pressure going through those pipes. And like you'd think that sometimes these little tiny metal pipes would explode more when there's so much pressure in them, but they never explode. Here's why. They put, the engineers, when they design these trains, they put a little valve on them called a safety relief valve that goes, it opens every time it feels that there's too much pressure in the pipe. I need you to be the pressure relief valve when you're talking to sellers, because sellers, especially sellers directly, they have a lot of pressure on their shoulders when they're talking to you. Think about this. What is the single asset that people put more money into over the span of their lifetime? What's the single biggest thing that they put the most money into? That they make monthly payments to every single month? What is the single biggest thing that they do every single month? They're paying on what? What are they paying on every single month? Yeah, you're right. They're paying on the mortgage. Every single month, they make a mortgage payment. And that mortgage payment, it stacks up over time. Like they are attached to this thing. Even if they're inheriting it through probate, they might have grown up in the house. I remember the day I went to closing with a seller named Chris. This seller sat at the table with me. It was him and his two sisters that were selling the property to me. And he looked at me and he said, Nate, you know, we got an offer on the property that was about 10 grand more than yours. And I said, Chris, why didn't you take that offer? Like 10 grand, that's a lot of money, man. Why didn't you take that offer? And he said, Nate, because you let us have extra time to go through mom and dad's stuff. And additionally, after you're done getting the cleanup done, the renovation, you invited my sisters to come back and see the house. We really want to see it back in its beauty form. The 10 grand wasn't that important to us. Holy cow. Chris gave me an education like no other that day. It's not always the number. It's not always the number. It's how people feel when they're with you. No different here. Like I bet you've seen a million different like Saul's armor type of offers that are out there. Like, oh, go buy this lead generator, go do this, go do that. But when you come to something like this and you can feel someone's energy and you can see how they are, you feel different. And people remember, it's probably why you're here. People remember more how they feel than even what the number is. Like the number's important, yes, but they remember more how they felt when you interacted with them. So for Chris, the seller that sold to me with his two sisters, it wasn't the 10K, it was how he felt during the process. So I want you to constantly be relieving the pressure. There's no pressure. We're not going to pressure people. We don't need to. This is anti-pressure, no pressure zone here. Okay, we're not going to come in and say, hey, this is my offer, take it or leave it. Or, hey, my offer expires tomorrow because I got 16 more houses I got to go look at. No, not in this market. No way. That's not how we roll. Instead, we relieve the pressure. Okay. Now, I do have more questions. These are more of the general questions. And I won't go through these line by line, but you'll have this video here, especially those that got VIP and whatnot. You'll have replay and you can come back and write these all down. But these are really general questions, just trying to understand more about the property itself. Like, hey, can you tell me about the property, the square footage, the bed bath count, all those? Yeah, great. There's one here that's important to me. It's how much do you owe on the house? I like to know and understand that because if my cash offer isn't going to fit the bill to pay off the debt on the property, then I like to be able to transition into seller financed offers. I'm not going to go in and if those that just practice like a cash offer, that's like a baseball player in the batter's box that only knows how to hit one pitch. Maybe they only know how to hit a fastball. And then what happens when the pitcher, he throws a curveball and it goes down, what will happen is that the batter will strike out every single time because the pitcher knows this guy only knows how to hit one pitch. I'm not going to throw him that pitch. And it's the same thing with real estate investing. Like if you only know how to do the cash offer, you will strike out. almost always. Maybe you'll pick up some deals because the pitcher will throw you something easy, but you got to be more creative than that. You've got to know there's more than one pitch. There's more than one way to buy a house. There's actually 17 different ways to buy houses. We have a very famous training in our vault called the 17 ways to make offers so you don't get rejected. And there are 17 different ways to actually hit that pitch, to work with sellers. It's important that you learn those, you study those. I don't have time to go through all of them right now, but just know that you've got to get yourself educated on them. We'll cover a few of them later this week though. Okay. So that's why I asked that question, because I want to know how much they owe on the property. And those of you that have asked that question before, or maybe you're afraid to ask that question like I used to be, because I grew up in a household where everything was a secret. Like, Dad, hey, how much did you pay for the house? None of your business. Hey, Dad, how much do you owe on the mortgage? None of your business. Like, that was what I grew up with. So like for me, I felt uncomfortable asking that question early on. But what I've realized over time is that the uncomfort is really in my head. And if I portray that uncomfort to the seller, then guess what? They'll feel that too. They'll feel that same thing. So don't do that. Like, don't be uncomfortable. Instead, you just want to boldly say, hey, how much do you owe on the property? I want to make sure the mortgage gets paid off at closing. Okay, cool. Boom. It's public information anyways. You could dig it up if you really wanted to dig it up, but it's easier just to ask the question. Okay, cool. And then this next phase right here, I won't cover this right now because we're actually going to do this in a couple of days together, like preparing the offer and actually submitting the offer. So we don't need to talk about this now. That's kind of phase 2. I will cover this briefly because some of you have leads right now that are from wholesalers. Okay, so this is the wholesale script. The biggest difference here, because I know if any of you have tried to work with a wholesaler before, you probably, well, you tell me in the chat, what are the big rejection points that you get working with wholesalers? What are the big rejection points that you get working with wholesalers? You guys tell me, okay? Number one that I hear most often, let me know in the chat too, guys. I want to make sure that we're getting this here. Should be rolling nicely right now. I'm going to flip over to the actual Facebook group so that I can see it. Maybe I can see the chat a little bit better there. But what are the things that you get kind of rejected on from a wholesaler? I'll cover those right now. What do you feel like you're getting rejected on? They want to have control of the deal. That's what Kevin says. Yeah, Kevin, you're right. Jermaine says time frame. Ricky says communication over price. Yeah, spot on. Terry says no daisy chains. All of the above are correct so far. Phoenix says so far they have a hard number that they want. Yep. Mark says assume that they have a hard number for the profit. Yep. Heather says time. Donna says money. Sang Sue says I can't talk to the seller. Spot on. Maxine says time. Arlene says time. Donna says money. Yes. Okay. So this is good because now I know you've been doing this. You've been talking to some of these wholesalers. That's good. Let me help you break through these barriers. Okay. Ann says the assignment fee would be to cut into. Whitney says low percentage on our fees. The numbers from Eugene. Control from Eric. Yes, yes, and yes. Let me help you break this barrier. Okay. Let me help you break this barrier because working with fellow wholesalers is an important part of the equation. Sometimes I buy properties from wholesalers that I turn around and sell, like from Kathy to Chuck. Other times I'll get a property directly under contract from a seller and I'll use a wholesaler to sell the property. The story I told you yesterday about Cynthia down in Nashville, Tennessee, that's what I had to do. Like I got blocked because the lender that was foreclosing didn't like that I was helping the person, the borrower, the owner of the property, didn't like me, didn't like the sister. And I had to bring in somebody else to do this end around play, a trick play. And I used someone else to bring a buyer to the table. Okay. So sometimes we'll work it both ways. So I want you to know how to do this. The number one thing, most important thing is this: when you start talking with the wholesaler, you just need to be transparent. No beating around the bush. We covered this in depth yesterday because the guest that we had on yesterday, Kate on VIP, Kate was fire. Like Kate's done over 300 properties like this, where she gets them from sometimes direct to seller, but usually they're coming from another wholesaler. And then she works the deal with the wholesaler, builds a relationship, and then she turns around and sells it to a buyer. And so she's gotten really good at this. And what she was talking about yesterday was pure gold. You've got to get that VIP replay for that. But the synopsis is this. She's being honest with them. There's no hiding anything. It's not worth it, because at the end of the day, they're going to figure out if you're going to resell it to somebody else. So you might as well just be honest about it. And then number two, the way that you position yourself is really important. Like, I want you to go in that call with a fellow wholesaler with confidence. If you go in and you're like, well, I might be able to do it if you just let me tie it up for a month and put it under contract, and I'm going to do it with no earnest money, and then maybe I'll sell it, maybe I won't. That's going to get you rejected. They're going to say, no, I don't have a month. I got 3 days. No, you can't have an inspection. I can't do it. I don't have enough time on my contract. Like, they're worried about getting paid. They're worried about fulfilling on their promise to the seller. So we've got to understand that. And if we understand that, we can work with them. So instead, what we want to do, following the script here, I'm just flying off from my gut right now. I know what the script is, but from my gut, when I'm working with wholesalers, I'm just honest with them. Hey, I might be able to help you with this deal. I might not. Here's the thing though. Once we connect on one deal, I promise you this, we'll do a lot of deals together. Might not be this one, might be this one, might not be. Here's what I can do, because I don't want to slow you down. Here's what I can do. Give me just a few days to get this in front of my buyers. I'm pretty good at the whole social media thing, and I'm pretty confident I can do this, but I don't want to overpromise anything. Give me a few days with a purchase option on this property. Now, I'm using legal contract words. Some states are okay with purchase options. Some states are okay with JVs. There's no way that I could go into all those right now, because I don't know which state you're in, and I don't know every state in the country. But you'll have to figure out what is the appropriate thing for your state, and then apply it to this conversation. So, hey, Mr. Wholesaler, here's the thing. I don't want to tie you up. How about you just give me a purchase option on the property? Give me a few days. I don't need much time. And if I bring you a buyer for this thing, I'll stack my fee on top. Don't worry about it. I want you to make what you need to make. I'll stack my fee on top, and just let me do my thing. Once we close one together, I'm certain we're going to close a lot together. I don't mess around. I don't have time to mess around. I really don't. I'm serious about what I'm doing. I'm fighting for X, Y, and Z. Put it on the table. Just be real with them. You guys came into this Facebook group and you were real with me. You were real with one another. Be real with them. People crave authenticity. People crave real right now. They don't want anybody flashing some fake thing oh yeah, I'm the buyer, I'm going to close on it. No, be real. Be you. Be honest with them. If you don't have two nickels to rub together right now, you don't need to pretend that you're the cash buyer. Just tell them, hey, I'm not the cash buyer, but I'm pretty good at this whole social media thing. And I think I can bring one. I don't get paid a nickel unless I bring one. That's how you level that conversation out. Okay, you're not trying to tie them up for a year or a month or weeks. You're not trying to do something that's going to hurt them. You're only trying to bring value to the equation. Bring value to the equation. Close one deal. One deal with that wholesaler. And guess what? That wholesaler will bring you every deal from that day forward. Every deal. You got to stay in contact with them and keep the relationship going. But they want to get paid. A lot of wholesalers, they get good at one side of the equation. They might get good at talking to sellers and getting a deal under contract, but they don't get good at the other. They don't get good at both sides. What I figured out with my niche in the space, if you really boiled it down and said, Nate, what did God give you the greatest gift with? I would definitely say I am so much better with buyers. I'm pretty good with sellers, but that's not really I can do stuff with sellers, but you put me in a room with a buyer that's buying rental property, that is game over. I love that game. I love serving that group of people. I'm really, God just gave me a gift there. I'm really good at it. And I'm proud of it. You should be proud of whatever you decide to niche down into, and you do it. So knowing that, why should I focus all my time and energy on a weakness on going out and doing the wholesaler side? If I'm really good at the buyer side, I'll get buyers and I'll bring them to other people's deals. And I'll make money faster, much faster, because I'm doing my unique ability. And I want you to do the same thing. Do your unique ability. If you don't know what it is yet, you just got to jump in. You got to jump in, try both sides, try one side, like figure out what feels right to you, what's flowing, what's making actual profit for you, what's making progress for you. Okay. So that's how you eliminate all of those objections, so to speak. Like, I don't want you to get bogged down with those objections and whatnot. So just eliminate them by being real. Be real. And you know what? It's not going to work with every wholesaler. Some of the wholesalers are going to say, nope, sorry, it doesn't work for me. No problem. Hey, maybe there'll be a deal in the future that'll work. Because what tends to happen with those wholesalers is they'll end up getting a deal that they get stuck on. They maybe overpaid for it. And then they'll come back to you. You got to keep following up with them and build a relationship with them. But then they'll come back to you and they'll be like, hey, I really need help with this one. You got any buyers for this? I remember I got this old schoolhouse under contract. Actually, I can't take credit. My wife got this old schoolhouse. It was in the boonies. I lived in Minneapolis at the time. And this was like way out, way past a city called Orono, Maple Plain area, like way out there, an hour outside the major city. And this is old schoolhouse, a one-room schoolhouse, maybe 500 square feet on a giant field. And the field wasn't for crops or anything. It was just a giant field. And we got it under contract from the seller. We made a commitment to the seller that we were going to get this deal done. And we put it out to buyers. And guess what? Nobody in the world wanted this old schoolhouse. And I was getting to the point now where we're like 3 weeks into this 4-week contract where I'm like, we're not getting anything. And I'm looking at my wife, Jennifer, and I'm like, Jennifer, like, you got to really hustle. This is your deal. You promised the seller this, you got to really hustle. And I'm like, maybe we just need to go back and talk to the seller and let the seller know, like, we couldn't find a buyer. Maybe we need to do that. I'm at that point now. And Jennifer's like, no, I made a commitment. I'm going to find a buyer. So she turns around and finds this other wholesaler named Dennis. He's a really, like, I've done a lot of deals with Dennis over the years, started with this one. But she finds Dennis, who happens to have more buyers on his list. And she says, hey, Dennis, I got this deal. What do you think? Dennis is like, well, let me put it out there. Let's see what happens. Sure enough, Dennis sends an email to his entire list, and Dennis finds a buyer within 24 hours. Boom. So then we all connect together. We do an assignment of contract to Dennis, and then Dennis does an assignment of contract to his buyer. We all get paid a fee in the middle, and we help the seller. Boom. Just like that. Okay. So you don't have to be afraid of having these conversations with other wholesalers. You just have to be you. You got to be honest. When my wife went to Dennis, she was honest and said, you know what? I can't find a buyer. I thought I locked up the deal at the right price. I promised the seller this. It just didn't work. She was her. She was real. And it's the same thing for you when you're going to a wholesaler that has a deal. You can provide immense value to them by bringing them a buyer. You can. They might say no in the beginning, but that's okay. Keep going, keep calling. You'll find one that's going to say yes. Okay. Let me get into the next phase of this. Okay. The next phase of this is this. We do a PowerPoint presentation when we're on site with sellers. I'm not going to go through this slide by slide. I'm just going to briefly explain this to you because there's just not enough time right now. But when we're going in to meet a seller, we want to be professional. I do not want to show up with ripped jeans. I know that's a fashion trend for some, but I don't want to show up like that. I want to show up like this. This is how I show up. I'm not overdressed. I'm not underdressed. And I'm going to have a simple slide deck to go through. I'm going to have my SMB field kit that I mentioned earlier that's got a clipboard that's got the exact step-by-step process on it. Okay. So I'm going to show up. You can do this, like literally super simple. It's a few slides in it to talk about the market. A few slides to talk about like why you're good at what you do, some client testimonials, and then you jump in and start talking about the numbers. Okay. Doesn't have to be complicated. Don't overthink this. I don't want anyone to overthink it. I'm just showing you this example. That's my one fear about even showing you the example is you're like, some people will be like, oh no, I don't have that. You can make it. I made it really fast. It's not that big of a deal. You can do it too. Okay. So you're going to want to have that. The next part. So we call that the perfect presentation. You're going to want to have perfect presentation on site. Okay. The next thing is we want to start gathering intel. The first intel phase was from the seller. The second intel phase is online. Now I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to pull this up. We're going to go through this together on day 4. Thursday. And this is basically how we put together, let me pull up this one. This is how we put together a property brochure, we call it. Like we're going to put together all the details of the property so that when we send it out to our buyers, it's nicely organized. It's nothing fancy, but it's nicely organized so our buyers don't have to dig around for stuff. So I'm working a little bit backwards. Don't worry about like creating this right now. This is a Thursday topic, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to work backwards. Like if I'm going to start gathering intel on a property like this, the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to Google. I'm going to do a Google search. I'm going to look up a couple stats. I want first and foremost to know that it's for me and my niche, the clients that I serve a landlord buyer that likes long-term rental properties. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come into Trulia.com when it pulls up on Google search, and I'm going to look at the crime map. Why would I look at the crime map? Why on earth would I look at the crime map? Because I want to know what's in a reasonable area. How do you decipher what's reasonable, what's not? This is up to you and what niche you serve. It's going to be different for everybody. But these dark blue areas, they're usually high crime. The clear areas like this, that's usually low crime or no crime. Okay. I only like to take properties in clear areas. That's me. Now, I can't steer you or tell you what to do and what not to do. But for me and for my niche, that's where we like our properties. So anything that falls outside of that, I politely decline. I don't even waste my time. Now, some people will say, well, Nate, hold on. Can't you like find a different buyer that likes it? Yeah, I could, but that's not being a niche provider. That's not being part of the Home Invest tribe. That's not really serving your niche. If you want to be a hit, Home Invest tribe member, if you want to be a hit in this business, then what you'll do is you'll niche. You'll serve your clients at a higher level than anyone else can because you know them better. You only bring properties that fit this criteria. Like our clients know, we're not going to send them a property that's in the middle of the dark blue zone. They're just not going to do it. It's not us. So that's the next step on gathering intel. Okay, the Trulia rating. Okay, Trulia crime rating. Okay, the very next thing is I want to look at some kind of valuation on the property. I want to know what the general ARV is, because when we start to get to the phase of making offers on a property, we have to know this. We have to know what that is. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I Google the property. I look at the crime map. Oh, I missed one step. Apologies. Don't miss this step. I also come in here. I'm not driving to every property, by the way. I gotta go back to Google. Not driving to every property. Most of our stuff is virtual. So much time is saved by doing this virtual. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on Google Street View, if Google Street View is available in the area, and I'm going to walk around. I want to see what's going on. Looking up and down the street. Some people will say, well, Nate, what are you looking for? I'm looking for evil. That's the truth. I'm looking for evil. Because I know that even if I didn't do this, which I'm going to do, even if I didn't do this, my buyer is going to. And I don't want to embarrass myself because I stand for something. I stand against bad areas. I stand for good areas. I stand against being a shark with sellers and stand for helping sellers. Like I know what I stand for, and it's important that you do as well for your niche. My buyers know I'm not going to send them something in the junk area, but I'm going to walk around. I'm going to look for evil. I look for cars that are all beaten up. I look for boarded up buildings, and I can see here this one's doing pretty good. I also look for things like pawn shops or businesses that have bars on the windows, and I don't see that right here. Now, I noticed on the Trulia crime map that not too far, maybe 6 blocks away or whatever it was, it gets into some dicey areas, but this, it apparently is in a really good little pocket. So I look for that. That's part of my online intel. This is for my niche. It's important you do this for your niche. That's part of your intel, okay? The next thing, part of your intel is this. We did Street View. The next one is ARV. Now, there's a couple ways to do this. First way, you can straight up pull comps off of Zillow.com, okay? Literally, I come into Zillow. Zillow gives me this thing they call a Zestimate. Anyone that's been around for a while knows that sometimes that's accurate, sometimes it's low, sometimes it's high. It's an online tool. It's only going to do what it can do. It doesn't know about improvements inside the property. There's a lot of variables to it. But for a free, quick, down and dirty shot in the dark, it's what we can use, okay? Now, we can go into this little section down here that says comparable homes, and we can look at these. Like, I would really pay attention and make sure that my comp is a real comp. I don't want to compare a 6-bedroom house to a 3-bedroom house. I don't want to compare a 2,000 square foot house to a 1,000 square foot house. I got to be really, really tight. We could spend a day on just comps, literally, but I got to be tight. And I want to look at comps. I want to see valuations. If you want a little more scientific tool, it's a little bit more scientific, and it does some more things that are pretty cool. I put this on the slide. You can use this thing called PropStream. Literally, you would type in trial.propstreampro.com/homeinvest. And what this thing does, I won't get into the whole thing right now, but what this thing does, once you're here, I'll log into my account if it will allow me. We'll see. What this thing will do is it'll pull comps a little bit more in detail. It not only does MLS comps, but it also does, I don't want to do this stuff right now. Don't make me do that. Well, it's fighting me. Anyways, I'm not going to waste time on that. But basically, it goes a little bit deeper. Don't stress on that, though. Do not stress on that. Like Zillow and Trulia, they can get the job done. If you want to go more scientific with it, then there's paid tools out there, okay? There's another one called Privy. The guys over there, Benson and whatnot, they're good people too. Rob over at PropStream is an awesome dude. There's a lot of options out there. Don't sweat it, though. I started with the free stuff, Zillow, Trulia, et cetera, et cetera. So don't sweat this one, okay? And that's to help you pull the ARV of the property. The next one, because I serve the niches of landlords, I need to pull the rent rate. There is a free tool that I use for that called rentometer.com. You come in here, you take the property address. So I'll take the property address from right here. I'll come into Rentometer, put in the property address. I think it'll rent for $1,200. You have to tell it what you think. It is currently a 4-bedroom, 1-bath. So we'll put in 4 bedrooms, we'll put in 1 bath, and we'll tell it to analyze. And then what it's doing is it's running rental comps for us. So it ran some rental comps, and then it's saying, hey, you know what? You're right in the middle. You're right in the middle. If I put in too high of a number, like 1,500 or whatever, then it's going to be in the red, and it's going to say, hey, that's way too high. So yeah, it's a pretty good tool. It's free. This is for my niche. Your niche might be different, okay? So you got to figure that out. You got to decide who you're going to serve. Who are you going to serve? The next one, taxes. I pull taxes straight from the county recorder's office. That's where I get my taxes from, straight from there, okay? I don't mess around with third-party stuff. Go straight to the county's website and pull the taxes there because it's the most accurate. Whenever you get it through somebody else in the middle, sometimes it can be missing stuff, and I don't want you to miss anything. And last couple of things is you're going to want to have some kind of deal evaluator. For us, the VIPs, you guys got ours. Like literally, you got the one that we use. We call it the SLS, the seller lead sheet, that when you're talking to a seller, you start to fill out the spreadsheet and then it populates into the ROI calculator. That tool is fantastic. We've analyzed well over 3,000 properties, purchased over 1,000 properties using that tool. That thing is like a well-oiled machine. I would get something like that so that you can calculate and figure out what's a good deal, what's a bad deal. If you're like looking for a rough number, like what will work, it depends on your niche. If you're serving landlords, they're buying cash flow. If you're serving a flipper buyer, they're buying equity. They need to buy it at 70% of market value or less. 70% of market value or less. So it depends on who your niche is, okay? This is a lot. This is like drinking from a fire hydrant. If you really letting this stuff soak in, this is like drinking from a fire hydrant. So I realize there's a lot coming at you right now. So if need be, come back and watch some of this parts again so you can really hone this in. And I want to make sure I give you your homework for today, okay? The homework for today, okay? You should have done these 2 steps already. Number 1 on Sunday, The homework was go into the group, do a live stream of what you're fighting for. Very important for your business. What are you fighting for? And tag me on it. I have gone through almost all of them. I still have some to catch up on that got posted last night, and I will go through every single one of them. I want to know you. I want to know your story. What are you fighting for? Okay. Make sure you're registered at 5dayflipformula.com. Make sure you've texted in as well to 941-265-8700, the word flip, and then invite a challenge buddy. If you're going through this right now and you're getting value and you want to bring somebody else in, invite them in. It's free for them to get in. So invite them in, let them come in and get the goodness. And then keep watching your email for homework, okay? Yesterday's homework, if you haven't done this yet, this is vital because I need you to bring opportunity to the table so that you can analyze that opportunity, okay? What do? You go in to the Facebook groups in your area. So like, don't go to Kansas City, Missouri if Kansas City, Missouri is not your thing. I only put that as an example on the PDF yesterday. Instead, what you do is you type in, if your city is St. Louis, you type in St. Louis, Missouri real estate, St. Louis, Missouri REI club, St. Louis, Missouri off-market deals, St. Louis, Missouri wholesale deals. Anything you can think of in that realm. There's a few examples that I've left on that PDF for you guys. Do that, get into 20 groups. And once they approve you, you got to answer their questions. And then once they approve you, come back in and do the post. Okay. And VIPs, like, don't sweat. We're going to move to VIP in 1 minute, literally 1 minute. Okay. We got Chris over there and I don't want to keep him waiting. So VIPs, we're jumping on the Zoom link in 1 minute. Okay. They won't start without me. I promise. Okay. Homework day 2. This is the homework for today. Make sure you keep up with all this. I want you to go live in the Facebook group and tell me your biggest takeaway. Tell me the biggest takeaway that you're going to apply to your business. Okay. This is, again, transformation will not happen this week without application. I want to know that you're applying this stuff. Come in, get some accountability, share with me, share with the group. Let us help you move the ball forward. So come into the group, do a live stream. Let us know your biggest takeaway so far that you're going to apply to your business and then tag me on it. Okay. And then your second piece of homework is whatever deals you've gotten so far, I want you to get the intel on them. Go ahead and call them back now. Schedule a phone call, get on the line with them, have that conversation. The script that we just went through is there for you. Okay. The second part of that is you do the online research. See if it's in an area that you think you can serve. Check out what the numbers look like. So get the intel on your property. Okay. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. You've got through day number 2. Day number 2. This has been fire so far. I mean, literally, we've got more than 1,200 people that are part of this challenge. At any given time, there's over 100 of us live. And then we jump into VIP and there's 50 to 100 people live. Like, this has been fire, absolute fire. I love seeing your videos inside the Facebook group. Like, this is the fuel that I need. This is the fuel that I need to keep coming here and serving. So keep them coming. I'm going to be looking for more tonight and this afternoon. And I just look forward to you knocking out your homework tonight and then jumping back on tomorrow at 9:30. It's not too late to jump into VIP. We're literally going to pick the market after the VIP call. So if you want your market to be picked as us flipping a deal in that market and then giving you all the buyers and all the sellers that we pull out of that market, I mean, we're going to do the deal ourselves and show you how to like make profit off of it. But if you want all of the work that we're doing to benefit you, then make sure you jump into VIP right now. Okay. You can do that at 5dayflipformula.com/all access. And VIPs, I'm jumping over there now. Thank you guys. God bless. We'll see you back here at 9:30 tomorrow morning. And VIPs, we'll see you on the Zoom link. The Zoom link is the same as yesterday, and it's inside your email now. We'll see you on the Zoom link. Bye, guys. God bless.